Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Going Places with Abu Micah. This is a very random video. I didn't plan this. I just woke up. I mean, it's morning here. Sun is up. Where's the sun? Yeah. So I just woke up and I decided to just share some thoughts on immigration, migration, why migrate, and why Canada. I don't know, whatever else comes to my mind. One thing that makes me very angry, okay, rightly or wrongly, is when I read about new immigrants in Canada who go back to their countries. Nothing against them. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I have lived in 2 other countries, okay, so it's okay. You can move from one country to the next. But I think what's important is to sort of understand why you are migrating. Examine your motivations from moving from one country to another, because that's what will really determine whether you regret your move or not, okay, or you enjoy the place where you are going. Because sometimes when someone moves to a country like Canada and then goes back to their home country, for me it sort of signifies an element of regret, an element of wasting one's time, okay, because really the immigration, the PR application process for Canada is very involving. It's not something that you just do like the US DV lottery. US DV lottery, I mean, when I applied for the US diversity visa lottery, it took me a day, just one day, right? You just fill in an application form online and submit, right? And then you wait for a reply. Now with Canada it's totally different. You have to, of course there are some other processes that go that you have to do after you are approved under the DV lottery program, but then the application process itself, the expression of interest in the DV lottery program for the USA, it's a very simple thing. You can do it in one day. But with Canada's PR process, expression of interest, you have to get your educational credentials assessed and pay money. You have to get your English language proficiency test or French and pay money for that. And then you create your profile and then you wait for an invitation. And even when you do receive an invitation, again, getting all of that documentation. I mean, I did a 19-minute video on documentation only, and even that wasn't enough. So it may take you 2 years or 1.5 years or 1 year to go through the whole process. But then when you do all of that and then you just give up within months, for me it's like you've wasted your time and you could have spent that time doing something better with your life. Now, so I have moved twice, okay? I have moved from Zimbabwe to Cyprus, from Cyprus to the UAE, and now, I got Canadian PR and I want to move to Canada. So what makes me so sure that I'm not gonna leave Canada and say, okay, Canada is not for me, let me try USA, or let me try Germany, or let me try the UK, or whatever other country I may think of. But in examining your motivations for migration, you really have to look at whether your expectations for the country you are going to are in line with the reality on the ground. Because when we migrate, I mean, Canada's economic migration programs are really for people who are seeking economic opportunities, right? Now, one thing that I've seen that is very evident that a lot of new immigrants to Canada have talked about is the fact that, is the Canadian experience, requirement, right? You've maybe 12 years of experience as a marketing manager, as, insurance broker in your home country, and you think that, okay, you will sort of like move to Canada on a sort of lateral plane and land in Canada on the same level as you were back in your home country. Now, that's something that even I, from the first time I moved out of my home country, I never ever had that expectation. Okay, when I moved to Cyprus, it was not under any economic migration program. When I moved to Cyprus, it was for study. I wanted to do a master's program. Now, I could have chosen to do it in 2 years, in 2.5 years, and spend more time there, but I chose to do it in 1 year. After 1 year, I could have gone back to my home country, but then when I realized that all the economic indicators were going down with no signs of recovery, and even some of the employers who had tentatively offered me jobs after doing my master's were themselves out of employment or out of business. So at that point, I knew that going back to Zimbabwe was not an option, right? It was not a viable option at that time. So that's when me and my wife decided to move to the United Arab Emirates. And so we moved to the UAE, and fortunately, we thank God, after 2 months we both got jobs at the same time, on the same day, right? So we both got jobs, and we were expecting our little one, Micah, okay, inspiration behind the channel, and he was born about, I think, like 5 months after we arrived in UAE. So we moved to UAE. UAE was sort of like our first economic migration, venture, right? So we moved to the UAE to look for jobs, and we thank God we found the jobs, and we have been working here for like about 3.5 years now. Okay, so this is what happened. Now why Canada then? If we've got jobs in the UAE, then why move to Canada? Now, when we moved to the UAE with me and my wife, honestly, I did not know what life would be like here, right? I did not know the issues to do with visas and residency and all of this, because in the UAE, right, you don't get permanent residency here, regardless of how long you have spent here, regardless of even being born here. Like, our son was born here, our son was born in Dubai, but he is just as Zimbabwean as I am. He only has a UAE birth certificate, no citizenship, no permanent residency, no advantages whatsoever in the immigration system. Okay, so that's the thing. The main reason why we then want to move to Canada is because Canada is then offering permanent residency, first of all, and also there's an opportunity also to become a citizen like after 3 or 4 years, I believe. So that then gives you a level of security which you don't get in a country that doesn't offer you permanent residence. Because for like right now, if you're in any foreign country on a permit, right, when that permit expires or it's not renewed, or I don't know, whatever, it's cancelled for whatever reason, then you have no option but to leave the country and go back to where you came from. So that's the big reason why I didn't want to migrate to Canada. Now, on the aspect of like economic migration, I talked about that lateral move, right? Whenever you move to a new country, it's like you are pushing a reset button in your life. You have to start again, sometimes from scratch, and build yourself up, in that country's system, in that country's economy, in that country's labor market. Because I used to wonder why, Canada's employers always stress the importance of having Canadian experience. I mean, isn't the experience that I gained in my country enough? Because some of the experience is technical. Building a website is building a website. Managing a social media platform is managing a social media platform. And sometimes IT is IT, really. So what then would be so different about websites in Canada? Or it's the same Facebook, it's the same WordPress, it's the same Magento, it's the same Shopify that you'll find everywhere, right? So one of the things then that I realized is that it's sometimes about being able to verify a candidate's employment history. Okay, because I worked for, fortunately for me, I worked for some big companies, but even that, even a big company in my current country or my home country or in Cyprus may not mean that my experience can be easily verified by an employer in Canada who doesn't know what Spa Retail is or what IDC Holdings is, things like that. So being able to verify a candidate's employment is very, very important for employers both in Canada and abroad. When I moved to the UAE, I was qualified to take a marketing manager job. I was qualified to take even a marketing director job. I can do that, but I took a copywriting job, copywriter, right? And I really started from the bottom in the organization. Bottom in the sense that I was sort of treated like I knew nothing. Okay, I knew nothing. This guy knows nothing. He's new. He's never worked in the UAE before. He's never worked in any Gulf country before. But then with time, I proved myself and became sort of like a trusted source of ideas and strategies and the like. And eventually now I'm leading an entire team. So that's the thing with whenever you migrate to a country. And of course, with Canada, I don't expect to land in Canada and be, I don't know. Of course, if God allows that to happen, then praise God. But I'm not expecting heaven. I'm not expecting a bed of roses in Canada. But I'm expecting to go there and work my way up the system. Now, the other thing also is that when you're moving to another country, right? One of the reasons why I want Canada is that you want to live in an environment that allows you to do what you want to do. Okay, there shouldn't be too many hindrances on doing what you want to do, right? In my home country, sometimes you want to start a business, you face so many hiccups, right? Maybe systems not working, maybe utilities not working, bureaucratic processes that you have to go through, sometimes bribing people and lining people's pockets and things like that. So those kind of hurdles are things that I would want to then avoid. So that's why I would want to move to, or would like to move to Canada. I want to be in a country where there's a government that works, a government that cares for its people, a government that creates an enabling environment for people to do what they want to do. So if you want to study, you should be able to study without hindrances. That's why I moved to Cyprus. I wanted to study without any hindrances, without any disturbances. And I did that. If you want to start a business, you should be able to start your business without hindrances. If you want to do farming, you should be able to do your farming without hindrances. So those are things that I find to be very, very important motivational factors for this. So understand why you want to migrate. Understand that it's not going to be easy. Understand that you have to start from somewhere and you have to work your way up. And hopefully everything will be fine with your life. Life is never something that you can build in a few minutes or in a few months or sometimes even in a few years. You have to, as a permanent resident in Canada, it means you are living there permanently. You are living there. You're living there you can live there for the rest of your life if you want to. So why give up after 2 months or after 3 months? When you can live there for the rest of your life. You don't know what's going to happen next year or the year after that, right? We didn't know Corona was going to come in 2020, right? And now, some people are saying, okay, maybe if I had stayed in Canada now, my government would be assisting me with a check and, things like that, supporting me in a time when my income generating capacity has been limited. Not all countries are going to be able to do that. Canada announced like an $80-something billion stimulus package. How many other countries have done that? So really, when you migrate, remember, it's for the long term. And when you're doing something for the long term, you have to start from ground zero and work your way up. So anyway, that's just me. I wanted to just share this I hope it helps somebody. So yeah, see you in the next video.